Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. I know a lot of y'all are waiting for that game film breakdown to drop. It will be coming probably tomorrow or Wednesday. But before we hop into that, man, I do want to kind of talk about the Saints roster, the injury situation, and a lot of things going on with the team right now. Basically, should the Saints stand pat and keep the team as is, or should they be looking for trades? Should they be looking for free agents, benching guys, guys that are backups, getting ready to play, anything like that? And we're just going to start off and kind of go position by position and kind of how those guys been playing this year. We can start off with the running backs. I do believe that we do need a consistent running back 2 on the team. I know everyone loves Mark Ingram, but man, the time has come with that. We had Latavius Murray. It looked like he was gonna, assume that number 2 position, but ended up going to the Broncos, so that didn't work out for the Saints. I just don't think Mark Ingram is a reliable number 2 right now. But also the problem with that is, how would you be able to, upgrade this running back position? It's week 5, week 6 of the NFL season, so it's definitely going to be hard. It'll have to be via trade, but you really don't want to give up anything to get a backup running back. So we're probably going to have to stand pat right there. The wide receiver room, hey man, kudos to those guys, to be honest, man. It's been a lot of injuries. A lot of guys has played for us, but guys have played well. Guys have stepped up, made catches when they needed to. Obviously, Michael Thomas started off the year hot, looking like the old Michael Thomas. Chris Olave has been our most consistent receiver. He went out with a concussion in the last game against the Seahawks, was able to hold on to that touchdown. Jarvis been hobbled by ankle injury. Callaway has played sparingly. So has Traquan Smith. Haven't really seen Deontay Hardy out there. So I think we're good at receiver. Just stand pat there. We just need to get those guys healthy, get those guys on the field. Tight end position, I mean, we haven't really used the tight end this year. Jawan Johnson, he's been there a couple times. Troutman finally caught a touchdown. Could have had 2 last game. Taysom really hasn't played as much tight end as I thought he would, just because maybe the offense hasn't been flowing, the way Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen intended it. So he's had to, take on that jack of all trades role, quarterback, running back, punt guy, all of that. So he did great in that role this weekend. I don't think we need to upgrade that tight end, man. Those guys could just do it by committee. We don't have a tight end one like a Travis Kelce or a Darren Waller or Mark Andrews, but by committee we can make it work. All those guys have different assets. They can bring different looks. We can run double tight end sets. I mean, we've been running triple tight end sets, technically called quadruple if you want to count Taysom in the backfield. So we're gonna need all those guys to continue to produce, and I think we'll be fine there. Everybody, of course, wants to talk about the quarterbacks. We can dive right into it. Obviously, we're going to be fine at quarterback with Dalton or Winston. It's going to be a lot of debate on who should be starting. I do think that it's looking bleak for Jameis. If he doesn't come back next week against the Bengals, Andy Dalton beats the Bengals, just plays okay, manages the game, because that's what any of these quarterbacks, they just can't lose the game for the Saints. We have enough weapons. The offensive line is starting to play well. Kamara hopefully is finding his stride. I know the defense will get better. They will, make adjustments and become a better defense. So whoever's out there for quarterback, hey, we don't need you to win us the games. Just don't lose them. Just don't lose them. And Andy Dalton, he's kind of done that so far. Jameis Winston, he was up and down, when he was out there, but he was hurt, so we really haven't got to really see a fully healthy Jameis Winston out there. So that's definitely going to be a big debate. I've also seen people say, play Taysom at quarterback. Play Taysom at quarterback. No, do not play Taysom at quarterback, because you play Taysom at quarterback, you can't run him 10 times a game. You can't let him play tight end. You can't let him play punt. You can't let him play kick returner. You just can't do any of those things. So Taysom here is going to have to be in his little gadget role. That's just what's best for the team. That's best for Taysom, and no one wants to see Taysom throw it 30 times a game. I'm sorry, we saw it. Don't want to see it. Now to the offensive line, who has been playing better as of late. A lot of that could be due to just, the quarterback getting the ball out of his hands fast, so we're not giving up a lot of sacks, or maybe Andy Dalton's, better at reading blitzes and disguises and things like that, so we're just, picking up pressures better. But whatever it is, they've been playing better as of late. They've been run blocking well all year. Ramczyk, Ruiz. Hey, clap it up for Ruiz, man. Hey, that's 2 games in a row. I think he had a very, very good game, for his standards. We don't need him to be Ryan Ramczyk. We don't need him to be Peter McCoy. Just be a good right guard for us, man. You're surrounded by a center and a right tackle that's very, very high-level players. You need to just do your job, fit into the scheme, man. He's been doing it those last 2 games. I've seen him get into the second level sometimes, man. Ruiz has been playing well. I have to mention that because I'll kill him when he's not. On the left side, Hurst, He is what he is, man. He's an average left tackle in this league. It's nothing bad about that, nothing good about that. He's just an average left tackle. That's why, we drafted a tackle, first round, a left tackle, to replace him. When Penny comes back, maybe he'll give him some competition, maybe not, just because he's coming off an injury. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Pete, he's been good, and when he was out with the concussion, Throckmorton, he came in and he did what he did. We know it. He's a good backup lineman. Just can hold it down for a couple games, not like a full-time starter, anything like that. Now let's move on to the defensive side of the football, man. This is probably the most disappointing thing on the team right now, besides the injuries. Let's start with the defensive line. The defensive ends have been okay. Davenport's getting better. I can tell every game he's just getting, more and more comfortable out there. Cam Jordan, he's looking like Cam Jordan, finally. Cam Jordan, hey, clap it up, because I killed him all last year. I killed him last year, man. Cam Jordan was not playing well. He turned it on late. Now he's come in and he's playing well. The backup guys and the rotational guys haven't really been making noise this year. It's early, very early in the season. Knock on wood, but the injury's probably going to happen to somebody, maybe for a game or two. Who knows what's going to happen? So we may see them, later down the road. Peyton Turner, absolute disgusted by the way he's played this year. I lack thereof playing time just because he hasn't been able to get on the field, because he hasn't, been able to make nothing happen. He started off with a good training camp. It was news coming out how good he looked, but it got into the game. I saw in the preseason, but I didn't want to overreact because it was preseason. And man, that guy was out there playing 4 quarters and couldn't register a stat. It's looking bad for him. It's looking bleak. I'm not going to say it's over for him by any stretch of the imagination, but right now it's not looking good for Peyton Turner. And one of the more disappointing groups on the team, to me, it has been the D tackles, man. We've been giving up a lot of run plays with the D tackles. Anyamata hasn't been the same this year. I don't know what it is, but he hasn't looked like the old David Anyamata that I'm used to seeing out there. Shot total's good, in the run fit. Then we have to bring Kentavious Street on in those passing situations. So not having a guy that can kind of do both, that kind of struggles, because obviously, they both lack in some area, but I think those two have been solid. Anyamata needs to step his game up, in my opinion. Malcolm Roach came in last game. I think that was like really the first time I saw him making some noise. So defensive tackle group, they have to get better. They have to get better. We're giving up way too many yards per carry this year. The run defense has not been good. Now we can move on to the linebackers, who's been the most solid group on this team by far. Pete Warner, Demario Davis. A lot of people argue with me about this, but Pete Warner has been our best player on the roster this year. Not saying he is our best player, because obviously you got Kamara, you got Demario, you got Cam Jordan, you got Lattimore. All those guys are better. But who's played better in these first 5 games? Nobody has played better than Pete Warner. That's just a fact. I've got stats, evidence, video to all back it up. Pete Warner has been a stud this year. Now to the most disappointing group on the field has been that Saints secondary. It's been absolutely awful for them. Let me exclude Marshawn Lattimore from this. He had that one bad game against Justin Jefferson where Justin Jefferson won. It's okay. Yeah, people lose all the time. He lost that day. Other than that, he's been shut down. He's been locked down. He's been all pro Lattimore. But pundits and stuff are going to hold that one game over his head and just pretend he hasn't locked down receivers for the other 4 weeks. Other than that, it's been bad. Marcus May was playing well. He got a little injury and things like that. But it's been bad in the secondary. Evans in the slot. Nah, don't want to see that. Roby had, he was up and down the first couple of weeks. He's been solid as of late. Adebo, he's been getting dog walked out there. I know he's coming off that injury. He's kind of on that Peyton Turner thing right now, man. He had a very, very good off season, very good training camp. Everything was high with him, and then we get to the season, and it's not looking good. I'm going to give him 3 weeks, though. 3 to 4 weeks. He's coming off an injury. He wasn't able to practice. I'm going to give him some time. Same thing I did with Davenport. I'm going to be fair. But right now, it's not looking good. Tyrann Mathieu, I kind of spoke my piece on that right there, man. I said on Twitter he came to New Orleans to retire. Obviously, I'm being facetious. He didn't do that, but man, he's not been playing well. He has to get better. He just has to get better. As simple as that, man. I'm an LSU guy as well. Obviously, I want Tyrann Mathieu to do well, but he just hasn't been playing well as of late. Special teams, Blake Gilligan, he's been great. Will Lutz, man, he's been great. Return game has been absolutely piss poor. We got Taysom Hill at kick returner. That's how bad it's been back there. So I think the team is, if they do nothing for the entire season, they're good. Guys are just going to have to step up, like especially on the secondary, on the defensive line. The receivers got to get healthy. If we're healthy, this team is good. I don't know how good we can be. I don't know what's our cap, what's our ceiling, but the team is good. The pieces are there. The coaching has to catch up to the talent that's on this roster, and the health has to catch up as well. That's been a thing for the Saints. So, hey, man, we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we make moves. Trade deadline is coming up in a couple weeks. I don't think we'll be real huge, players in the trade market, but you never know, man. Mickey Loomis has always been aggressive. We were aggressive in the last draft, and we'll just see what we do. Now, I'm just looking to see y'all opinions on the situation, man. What do y'all think we should do? Should we change quarterbacks? Should we get a backup running back? Make a move on the offensive line? Rotate some corners? Go find a new corner? Make a trade? What do y'all think we should do? So just keep everything as it is and let these guys build chemistry and just see how the season plays out with the guys we have on this roster. I don't have really any thoughts on, swaying anyway, just because I like the team as is. If we make a change at quarterback, that's not going to really affect things. I think both of those guys can get the job done. I think everything else is cool, man. We just need to play better, in my opinion. So, as always, this is DaBoot Tragedies, and I'm out.